So before React Native or any hybrid applications we used to develop, earlier it was to be on native development completely. So we used to develop using native Android using Java and Kotlin. For iOS, we need to use. So during that time, the cost of the resources, multiple resources, different code bases has to be maintained. Every small change in Android has to be deployed on iOS as well, or iOS change has to be deployed on the Android as well. So for all that things,
Yes.
used to take a lot of time. So then a hybrid applications came into picture. So before React Native, we used to have this Ionic and Cordova. So using Ionic Cordova, we used to build the mobile application. Then React Native, you have Flutter as well. So why React Native is because you have a React Native technology. You can work both on web as well as the mobile application. So what exactly is React Native is? React Native is a powerful framework for building cross-platform mobile applications using JavaScript and React. It enables developer to create apps for both iOS and Android with single code base, utilizing native components to achieve near native performance. So what React Native is? It's a framework developed by Facebook that allows you to build mobile application using JavaScript and React. It compiles to native app components, providing a near native performance experience both on iOS and Android. Why use React Native is it's cross-platform, as we have just now you told me, right? Write once, run both on iOS and Android. It has a rich ecosystem, leverages JavaScript, React, and a large community. Native performance directly access native APIs, ensuring high performance. Fast development. So fast development in the sense hot reloading speeds up the development process. So we can develop the mobile apps on the web as well or your simulator as well. Earlier, we used to develop, build, deploy, check whether it's working or not. And even if a native apps, you cannot use a Chrome Dev tool to check those applications. You used to have always used to connect a mobile device, then only you need to you would be checking it. But right now, the development is you can do the entire mobile app development on the browser itself, and then build for your mobile applications. Only few of the native features like camera or some other third party plugins you have, right? For that features only you can build the APK and test on the mobile devices. Rest all, like for example, login functionality, sign up functionality, or any other listing functionality, all those things you can test on in your browser as well. So what are the prerequisites of React Native? You need to have a basic understanding of JavaScript. Mostly JavaScript functions like arrow function, promise, async, and await will be using. You need to be familiar with React. So React familiar is you need to have the knowledge of components, JSX, props, state, and lifecycle methods. You have Node.js because React Native relies on Node.js for dependency management and building apps. Then you have a package manager, like it comes with when you install Node. Basic CLI, understanding a basic command line interface. All these things are little bit of prerequisite what we need to have. So how React Native is different from native apps with iOS, Android, phone gap. You can use also build using Xamarin. So if you see native apps, right? You have third party, you have developer SDK, standalone, mobile iOS, operating system iOS and Android. This was a native app architecture. Hybrid architecture was mobile application framework like Cordova, other things used to have. Then used to have a framework compatibility. Entire Cordova based hybrid used to work with web use API that works with iOS SDK and Android SDK. This was the hybrid architecture. Then you have a React Native app architecture where we have our application. We have npm package, which is the React. Then third party React Native components, React Native libraries, and other things. This is how is your React Native architecture. So React Native applications can be built using pure React Native as well or with Expo. So we will be building our React Native applications using Expo. Why? Because the complexity, what you do manually adding all the things are taken care by Expo SDK or the Expo libraries. So generally platforms you build with Android, you build with iOS, you build with web. But Expo easily is compatible to build all these things. So app development is harder. React and Expo makes it easier using Expo libraries. So why use React Native is it uses proper native use, custom native use, cross-platform support, and multi-threading by default. It's a new architecture. So what is hard about React Native is it has a higher learning curve, dependency hell, deployment process, and painful for upgrading. So why we are developing mobile apps using Expo? So Expo is a set of tools for building React Native. Provides tools that are common in web development. Reusable, pre-built runtime like browser, a set of native APIs. Very fast iteration speed. Integrate crowd services for seamless deployment. Earlier, if you are doing a React Native application using React Native CLI or something, you need to do the build and everything locally. You need to have all the setups and all the corresponding dependence, everything locally. Then only your application will build, APK will build. But using Expo, you can use the Expo Dev tool or the online services what they provide and build your application through online directly. So Expo also gives you out of box support. For example, state management, build pipeline, testing, all these things, Expo gives you an out of box support. So when we are talking about Expo, we'll be mostly talking about Expo CLI, Expo SDK, Expo Go, what is Expo Snack. But majorly, we talk with Expo application services. EAS is nothing but we build our mobile applications entirely through online EAS. So we link our code application with the online Expo Dev account so that your APK or IPA for Android or iOS that will be built through online system. If I'm building through my Mac, I need to have all the setup. For example, I'm using Mac. I need to have all the setups and dependencies supporting the iOS. And I need to have all the setup for Android Studio, Java, and everything for building the Android APK. So all the dependencies, all that complexities is taken care by EAS now. So generally, this is how your Expo looks, your application. When you load your application, it just gives you a QR code on your app. If you are on your mobile phone, if you have installed a Expo Go app, you can directly scan the app and it will be opening your mobile application using Expo. So Expo CLI helps us. Okay, you are seeing the Expo CLI here, right? You can use npm install -g Expo CLI. We are not using the React Native CLI, but we are using the Expo CLI. So helps us interface with the bundler, starts up the dev server and other dev tasks. By installing the package globally, we can quickly create and generate a new project. We don't need any native code to get started. So currently Expo SDK is 49. Yes, Expo SDK is nothing but it's a set of community package version together. So it supports both iOS, Android, and web. It solves the dependency issues. Example, if you are going for camera plugin, your example React Native camera or React Native splash screen, something we need to use. So for that, again, you need to install a third-party dependencies and you need to test on mobiles. So Expo has built on top of React where you get all the native features directly using Expo, and it makes our life pretty much simpler. See, for example, you have Expo camera, Expo splash screen, image picker, Expo location for geolocation, all these things. So all the native code is built ahead of time into Expo Go. So your application will be built using Expo Go, and Expo SDK helps you to get all the native rich features. So generally you can see when you download an Expo Go, it will look something like this, what you see on the image. So it is a reusable native runtime. You can download the app from App Store or Play Store, as most of the APIs you will be need to make a complex application, and it reduces the amount of time for development and makes it easy as a web development. So your mobile application also will become easy and you can build like a web application. So Expo Snack is nothing but is a platform designed for running React Native apps in browser. I said right, you can even test and develop your browser, your code and test it on the browser as well. Earlier, if you are building on a native, you need to have definitely an Android emulator or iOS simulator. Then only those things used to work. But now you can develop your mobile apps using your browser as well and build an APK and deploy on your mobile phone as well. So Expo Snack is a platform designed for running React Native apps in the browser. Code created can be saved as a snacks and even shared. It requires no setup and can be previewed immediately on real devices as well. Great for web developers unfamiliar to native APIs. React Native developers who wants to prototype or share an idea. Bug reporting if they want, live coding sessions. So this is how you get an Expo snack bar. So you can directly see your Expo snack bar. You can tap to play or run on your device. Directly you can scan and run on your device. This is how you get your Expo snack. So initial development, for example, you have a login screen or sign up page, or you have something to show a list which does not depend on any third party. You can build directly using on the browser. So this is the main part, Expo application services. They are deeply integrated cloud services for Expo and React Native apps. Makes it easier to deploy mobile application. Submit the app with single command. It bootstraps the app, native code and sign in and performance validation. Sends the source code to EAS build server. CI servers return a binary file or push them to the stores. Either you can directly push your APK to the Play Store or they give you the .aab file where you can upload manually onto your Play Store as well. So this is the new feature comes in Expo where it is called an Expo Orbit. So what it does is it installs and launches build from EAS, launches Snack project in simulator, install and launches app from local file. This is the use of the Expo Orbit. We don't use this. We build mostly by using Visual Studio Code. We build the app similar to React Native app and we use the Expo library and the iOS simulator to run your mobile application on your simulator only. So you are asking difference between React Native and Expo, right? This is the difference. So when you build a React Native app using CLI, you get lot of dependencies. You can see all these things. Android bundler, similarly iOS bundle, iOS have pods and other things. But Expo managed project is pretty simple, very simple. You have an app.json here. So that's the main difference between, you can see the Expo and React Native apps built with React Native CLI as well as with Expo. This is the Expo app. So what if we want to use a native code, then we need a custom dev client like Expo Go with special set of native features. A dev client sits between the OS and the React app. To add custom native code, install any React Native modules and rebuild the app. So generally this is how is the life cycle of the Expo Go. You develop, then you preview, you build using EAS, you can submit using EAS or you can update using EAS. So if you take with the Expo managed workflow, so it let's avoid working with native code directly. It maximizes cross-platform configuration. iOS or Android files are managed by Expo CLI. This is the main advantage. To upgrade, simply configure app.json. These are the main things which makes your life easy. But when you go with a bare minimum React Native CLI using to build, we have full control over everything, but updating can be painful, like React Native projects without Expo. means the upgradation or anything will be painful. But here, if you are taking with Expo, you can concentrate on these two things, right? It makes your life very simple. And upgrading is also very much simple. I'll just show one sample project how it looks. And using this, what type of applications we can build? I'll say. So we can build an edtech app. We can try to build a food delivery app. We can build some apps like real-time tracking systems, payment wallets, all the things we can build. So once we learn the Expo or the React Native with Expo, all the concepts, then we will be building a real-time something called an edtech or a food delivery app or a payment collection app. Any one app we will be building a real time, and we will be building a APK as well. Let me open if I have any project. Yeah. See, I was saying right, this is an Expo build app where I have app.json, simple app.json. You can mention, for example, React Native or normal native apps. You need to have an Android manifest. All those things, lot of things related to Android versioning and all the things used to have. Even if you want to change the splash screen, you need to mention somewhere in the Android manifest all the things and all Android.xml, all the things. But in Expo, everything you can do using app.json. See, if the app icon here you mention, the splash screen also you can mention here. If you want to use anything related to push notification, see adaptive, this is for Android icon, adaptive icons for Android. Similarly, if I using building for web icon. Similarly, you get a folder for iOS as well. This is a bare minimum Expo project. See, I am using React Native as well, libraries as well, along with Expo 49. It's a mix. Expo is built on top of the React Native we can use. So the rest all our development will be very much simple. See, if you see the login screen, it's the same React code only. See, export default function, the use state, the methods, JavaScript methods. Only thing is these things changes. That we will see. Normally we have input type is equals to text. Here we take it as a text input, and everything will be under views. In normal React, it will be under div. Here it will be like under views. So a more complex project, I'll just show you how it looks. So this is a more complex live project we have. See, for Google plist.json, you will be wondering what is this? This is for sending the push notifications. So simple, I have my JSON file. I've just added in app.json so that I will be able to use the push notifications. So just then we need to include whatever is the plugins we need. Expo notifications. That's it. Then your push notification triggers. How EAS links is, this is what the EA, this will be learning during our training session, but just on an overview I'm saying. See, I have created a project on Expo and linked my project here to my local. So Expo, whenever I'm building, it picks this based on project ID and builds the online. See, this is my for push notification. So I have my EAS to build Android type APK. Here I can build the type as AAB as well, or for iOS also I can mention here. But I need an APK for testing purpose, so I mentioned the build type as APK for the EAS. The rest other things are all pretty much similar. How you do is how you do a normal React code. Rest most of the things are React code only. See, this is my Expo dev actually. So I have linked my projects here actually. You can see, right? There are different projects I did. So these are the projects I am using the Expo directly. This is a command line interface. Normally you are asking like how you do a React Native locally. That's pretty hard to do the build. If something fails, we need to keep on debugging, doing some R&D. for all that activities for us export us. See these many apps I have built it. So if you directly take it here, you can see it here. You link your project ID. I am the owner. This is a project ID. If you see this is the project ID what you are seeing here. If you see here, right, in app.json, the project ID, this one.
Oh,
You have seen the owner, right? Funny. So this is the owner I am putting. So this is what how you
yes.
link your project to your to your local to your expo project. Means local is nothing but the Git somewhere. So then we can directly build it for Play Store build. See Android Play Store build. Nothing is there. You just need to build from here ES workflow. So it will show you if anything fails or in this logs only you will be seeing here from the dashboard. This also we will be seeing how we can build the project from here. How we can build the project from here. That also we can see. Okay. This is what we need to know about Expo because Expo helps you, makes your life very easier. And as a developer, you can focus more on development rather than all these configurations and other activities. This step by step, we'll be seeing how we can do it as well. See, there are so many things what we did. So, so what type of applications we can build? We can build a food delivery app. So we can build a tech app. We'll try to build a this one payments collection app. So once we do the activity, we will be trying to do personally one real-time project and develop an APK. So for this prerequisites, what all we'll be learning? So we will be starting with HTML. We'll have CSS. We'll talk JavaScript. Then we'll talk about React. Then React Native. Then what we'll be doing? Build a live project using React Native and Expo. So here in this, we'll be covering few other features, plugins like camera, how do you use, geolocation, backend will be on Node.js since we are only developing on a React, right? A React Native, right? So we'll be mostly concentrating on building the mobile app as well. Then here we'll be having React. Don't worry, we'll be doing as well that as well. MySQL, Node.js with Fastify, then React Native. Building a live project using React Native and Expo. What all plugins will be covering is we'll be covering camera, geolocation, push notification. These are the major things we use, right? Pay-
Yes.
Payment integration. For example, say how do you integrate a Razor Pay if you're building a food app or if you're building some other app where you have a payment collection like using Stripe. How do you build using them? So if you recollect what are the other plugins you can recollect of. So generally you would have done with native app, right? So here, so I have somewhere. See, this is a expo. How I can start it as a web. I can start as an Android. I can start as a iOS as well. If I want to build again using pure React Native, then I need to eject my Expo app. Then I can start building using normal React Native, like a normal React. That using Expo, if you are able to build your app in the 1 month using React Native, it will take additional some 15-20 days. Then we need to have compulsory this package bundle identifier because with this bundle identifier only your app will be built and you will be releasing it for App Store or Play Store. If you see right here I have used google.json. You will be seeing this one. So you can learn a new technology you are learning, right?
Mm.
So So right now, the market demand is mostly on these things. Node.js with React Native.
Okay.
So these are the things, tools. What are the tools we'll be covering on? We'll be covering this one, sorry, Visual Studio Code. We will be covering on GitHub for check-in and check-out of your project, how you do. Then we'll cover Postman for testing our APIs. Okay. GitHub for version control of your project. We just did a Postman. These are the things what we'll be doing it. Okay. So once we start, we'll start with first with HTML. We'll start with CSS, JavaScript, React, then MySQL, Node.js.